Book club is in session. Welcome to Duo Lit Society.
Today we're getting into We Don't Talk About Carol by Kristen L.
All right, girl.
Let's get into this one.
So Sydney, she's a former journalist, and her grandmother just passed. So now she's traveling to North Carolina from California to help her mom with some arrangements and stuff. So her grandma had a child named Carol, and she refused to talk about it. So whatever issues they got going on, her grandma took it to the grave. So they don't talk about their Aunt Carol.
She actually didn't even know she had an aunt.
She did not know. No
While
idea.
cleaning out the grandma's house, she found a picture of her in the drawer and then asked. And then they were like, oh, yeah, we don't talk about Carol.
And then that was it.
That was pretty much it. So
That
she
was
tried to
a
figure it out.
And apparently, Aunt Carol looked just like her.
Yeah.
So that was also very weird and a little eerie.
It was creepy.
Yeah, I thought that was very creepy.
Yeah, but Aunt Carol was her dad's sister.
Yes.
And he also
And
never
he
said
died.
anything. He did die.
Yeah, he passed away, I want to say a few years prior
Before.
to when this is occurring. And so whatever he knew about Carol was also in
his
the
grave.
Yeah. So.
Nobody ever talked about her. So
No.
Sydney, being the journalist she is, obviously wants to figure out what happened to her aunt that nobody ever talks about. So she started digging.
And she got into it real quick.
Did.
Because there were some girls that went missing. So 5 girls went missing back in the 60s. Nobody was saying anything about it. Didn't really get any news coverage. But again, it's the 60s and it's black women.
It's
So
black women, they don't care. And
Yeah.
Carol was the last one to go missing. So after her, it stopped.
which is very unfortunate because like nobody else thought to care. Nobody else thought to say, hey, this is your Aunt Carol. Let me tell you about her. So it just feels like nobody cared.
Yeah, they didn't. Well, even because the mom herself was like, oh, well, she ran away, so I don't want to talk about her.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Your child is missing and you don't care to, like, file a police report,
Nothing.
ask questions, try to figure out what happened to her. You're like, oh, well, she didn't want to be here, so I'm not going to look for her. What kind of
Which is weird. And then just refused to talk about her after that.
like, erased her.
Very weird. So I didn't like that because I feel like nobody cared about Carol and nobody cared about those other black girls that went missing. So then we get into, like, I guess Sydney's relationship with her parents. Her mom was really cold, but we later figured out it was because she was pretty much being verbally abused every day by their dad. AKA Carol's brother.
Yeah.
And he was trying to, like, off all of them at one time, multiple times.
Yeah,
like,
he was.
drive them into open bodies of water. And like, I'm gonna do it. Like,
I'll just take us all
I'm about
out
to
of
take
our
us all
misery.
up out of here.
Like, what?
And it's like,
He was a drunk
yes, he was,
and obviously had mental health issues.
and was abusive to, like, one of the past girlfriends he had, or like dates that he had.
But she was good because he grabbed her arm one time and she said,
Yep.
we're done.
We're done. Let's cut
Don't
this
talk to
now.
me no more.
Let's cut this now. But she never, like, said anything badly about him or never mentioned it again.
She said that she really liked him and he was like so nice. And then that one instance scared her and she was like, no,
Yeah,
we
she saw a
good
dark
on that.
side. She saw a dark side of him.
But Sydney also said the same thing though. Like every time she would describe her dad, like earlier in the book, it would be like, oh my gosh, he was such a great dad.
Yeah, I was sitting like, oh, I'm sad that he's gone, but now I'm like, I'm glad he gone. Because what you mean you trying to take out your whole family? You crazy?
Like it just flipped, and I'm sure it felt the same for them. Like,
Yeah.
dad's not the same anymore. So obviously he was going through some stuff, and you know the stigma with black men not getting help. He was just drinking.
It was him. Yeah, it was like he was the walking billboard for like just mental illness and just not asking for help, not getting help.
Yeah, because they were like a famous family. Because wasn't he like an athlete?
Yeah, he did football or something.
Yeah, I
like
think
that?
so. I think he was an athlete, and
So-
the mom was like a lawyer, and they owned restaurants. So the
So,
mom
yeah.
was like, "Yeah, what happens here
Stays here. You know how black people act.
Don't talk about this outside of the house."
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm gonna talk about what's going on outside the house, and as a former teacher, y'all kids was doing it too. So it's fine.
Kids will tell your business.
And if somebody was to tell some business, they probably would have took the kids out of that house because it was very, very scary for those kids. And it was and Sydney has a sister, so she was also dealing with that. But it really kind of was a mess. Sydney did end up seeing Carol's diary. And so she was reading that throughout the book so that we can get some idea of who Carol was, you know, like who she hung out with, maybe
who she was dating, what she was thinking, what she wanted to do. Because one of the neighbors came over to bring food.
Yeah.
And Sydney went over there and asked her about Carol, and you know, she told her about Carol, and that's how she found out about the other girls, was through the neighbor. So that's really how it started. And she was like, oh well, she knows more than what anybody else is telling me, so I'm gonna keep asking her
and then asking her kids, you know, because they grew up with Carol and her dad. So she asked the neighbor's daughter, like, hey, you know, I read in Carol's diary about a guy named Michael. Do you know any Michaels? Come to find out,
Michael was
her brother. And she said, no, I don't know nobody named Michael.
Lied. Like,
and you know what? That should have been a red flag. That was already the red flag for me. When we found out that she lied about her brother being Michael, and that's who Carol was dating.
Yeah, that was the red flag.
Because
immediately I was like, oh, he did something.
Yeah, that should have been like the first place everybody looked, like Michael.
And then he just disappears. Second red flag.
Yeah, it was kind of a mess. And then there was a guy, Raymond, that was creepy. Michael's creepy friend.
That they said blame for doing it. But he also disappeared after Carol, so
we trying to figure out
who's doing it.
Who's killing these girls and what's happening. And so everybody had a story about Raymond. He was the guy in town that like
was creepy.
Y'all don't leave y'all, you know, girls around him because he might scare them.
He lived in the house alone. His aunt, I guess that's who he was living with. She passed away, so he was just in the house alone in high school with the car, and was having parties at the house and everything. And
a predator. That's what he was.
Was in college.
He went to college for like a year, but he couldn't keep up with the grades and stuff, so he just hung around college kids while he don't go there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
because he had a car.
He was cool. Girl, yeah. He should have been on everybody's radar, but you know how that goes. Nobody cared about the black women that were missing, the black girls that were missing, and so you know they just Raymond gone, so case closed.
Literally case closed. That's literally what they did.
And the police were like fighting Sydney to actually open the cases. She's like, okay, listen, I got all of this evidence. I'm trying to help. Like, I didn't talk to all these people in town. Like, open the case up.
They weren't doing that.
They weren't doing it. And so she actually ended up meeting Michael. Like,
ugh, that was so creepy.
It was so weird. She went to go visit Michael. I guess he had some stuff that was Carol's, and he was like, I want you to have it. He was kind of disappointed that she came by herself and she didn't come by herself and brought her sister.
Yeah.
That was also.
He was obsessed with how much she looked like Carol.
He kept saying, oh, you look so much like Carol. You look so much like your aunt. I'm like,
No, when he went and spammed her page
in the middle of the night,
I was like, oh, no. What is this 70-year-old man?
Because by this point, he's 70, baby. Okay.
With she was like 13?
She was 13. I said, now how old is the wife?
No, that's nasty. How old was the wife?
And I just had to take my mind off of that fact because I couldn't get over that. Like, 13-year-old daughter and you're 70, sir? Okay, that's
And
weird.
how she just gonna leave them?
Oh, I'll leave y'all to it. She know what he doing.
Too. She was weird too. She knew.
So come to find out, Michael was the one killing the girls. Him and Raymond was doing it together. Michael was the ringleader. Raymond was the flunky. And everywhere he went to, when he moved, it was missing girls there too. But they were black, so nobody cared.
Nobody cared to look into it.
And so that, like, Sydney opened a whole can of worms.
That she really didn't know. Because she just thought that Michael was Carol's boyfriend.
Yeah.
And
just
he
like
was
everybody
sad
else.
because he, tried to figure out what happened to Carol.
He was acting sad.
And, he was mourning that for his whole life. And none of that was true. So when she started figuring it out, because she kept asking, other women that interacted with Michael, and then she started figuring out, like, okay, well, Michael tutored all these girls
that went missing.
Like, he has a relationship to every single one of them that went missing.
He pretended like he didn't.
Yes, because when Sydney asked, she was like, "Oh no, I don't know them. I haven't heard of them. I didn't interact with them or anything." Lying, just a liar.
Yeah, he
was lying about everything. So Sydney figured it out. Whole time her husband,
bless his heart.
I felt bad. So in the book, Sydney and her husband, they're struggling with infertility. So she's also going through that as she's trying to figure out what happened to Carol and the other girls. But she was a journalist, and previously she tried to find like some missing kids, and she had like a mental break. And so because of that, her husband was like very
he's like,
I don't want you to be doing that. That sounds stressful. The doctor said not to be too stressed out right now. Like, we're going through IVF, all this stuff. But she felt like unsupported. But to him, he was just like worried about her. Because
he was just worried, honestly, at the end of the day.
He was the one with her in the hospital when she had her break and all that stuff. But they just never talk to each other. They don't talk. So she be taking it as, you don't support me. You don't want me to do what I want to do. And you do what you want to do. And he like, you don't take care of yourself.
Yeah. So she was, and that was also kind of part of the story too. She was like, I'm scared that she gonna spiral out of control. Like, the reader's looking like, oh girl, you had a mental breakdown. Like, you gotta chill. But she ended up being able to collect herself and, stay calm throughout it, even though this was like part of her actual story. And come to find out, Carol is alive. Carol is alive. She actually they forced her to help with burying one of the girls, and that they killed. That was her friend. One day she was like, all right, I can't do this no more. And so Raymond thought he was going to kill her. She ended up killing him, burying him where them other girls was at. That's why Raymond went missing. And then she got in Raymond's car, got some stuff from her house, and said, all right, I'm going to head on out. And she was living in New York the whole time. Like, she has a kid.
So they figured out that she was alive through her kid.
Yes.
Because Sydney's sister, took one of those DNA, like ancestry tests.
23andMe type situation.
And she was actually the one that figured out that Carol had a kid. So they're like, how did Carol have a kid if Carol died as a teenager? And this kid is, how old was he? Like,
he was like in his 60s.
60s. And he also had
a 3-year-old.
Yes.
3-year-old twin.
Toddlers.
I ain't like that. What is with that?
I don't like that. I was kind of confused because I was reading. I was like, is he younger or is he 60?
Going back, I said, now, is he in his 30s or is he 60s?
Because he got twin toddlers.
That's 3.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Okay. That's how they figured out Carol was alive, because of the ancestry test. So they went out, they like messaged him, and he was like, oh my gosh, my mom never talks about her family. I would love to meet y'all so we can like talk about it and exchange stories about our childhood and all this stuff. And then they went and met Carol, and Carol slammed that door in their face.
She did. Slammed it right in their face. But she came eventually the next day. She was like, all right, well, y'all can come and talk. So that's when she told them like everything. She was crying, and
yeah, she was just trying to save her brother.
She was, because they were gonna force that onto him, and
he was grooming her brother to do the same thing. And so he told her, if you don't do this with us, then I'm just gonna let your brother do it. And she didn't want her brother to fall into that, so she did it. And then Michael decided that he didn't want to do it no more, because he was trying to go to law school, and he was like, I need a clean slate. But then Raymond wanted to keep doing it. Yep.
And so Carol had to go ahead and take him out real quick.
Yeah, that's how she took him out, because she was actually going to be next.
She was about to be buried down there with everybody else. So she took off, she did her thing, and then she was relieved because they had, the families had closure. Mm-hmm. They hadn't had closure in like 60 years.
Yeah,
So
they found all the bodies, and some behind Raymond's house, some at the
like a swampy
area where Raymond was also buried. So that was good. And then they changed that area into like a little memorial park for people to have events and stuff. So the families got their closure, and Carol got to have family again after
she isolated herself for so many years. So it was. I'm glad they had a happy ending,
and they had a baby,
and they had their baby. Carol got to enjoy being a great aunt.
Yeah, she did,
because she never got to be aunt for real, and I loved that for her. So
yeah, it was good.
It was good. It was
a good build up, and the way like Sydney went about figuring out stuff was like really cool.
Yeah,
because she literally just did it by being a journalist and using
her skills,
podcasts.
Crime junkies, true crime, y'all love this. That's what this is about. So, what is your final rating?
I gave it a 4. It was good, but it wasn't like, I don't know, like my usual 5-star thrillers. But I did really enjoy it.
Yeah.
And it was her debut novel, so
I didn't know that. Yeah. I gave it a 5 because the crime girly in me, real true crime in me, it was, my heart was so happy. I was very satisfied in the end because Michael went to jail.
He did go to jail. I think he should have. Let us know your final thoughts and ratings in the comments, and we'll see you in the next book.
Bye. Oh, sorry.